Welcome, everyone. I'm very, very happy, very excited for today's webinar. It's one of a series of webinars we are conducting with our partners, speak about automation, using automation within your business to empower your business, using AI within your automation as well. Today, I have TB from Make It Future, who has amazing, amazing experience with AI and automation. Before I go into an introduction, we're going to go through a very, very quick introduction. But before that, Tibi, I know you achieved some amazing results with the use case you're going to be sharing with us today. Can you just in a few seconds share with us the amazing results that you achieved?
Yeah, for sure, Leo. Thanks a lot for inviting me on this webinar. Hello, everybody. I'm TB. This is, I can say, we saved about one man of work or one person of work per month, right? So we can calculate that about 150 hours of work per month. And if we look at from a saving perspective, think about 30K saving, depending on the region or depending on your country, right? That might be different, but the potential is there, right? And we're talking about, to be honest, about a small business here, and I'll describe that more in the next slides.
Awesome. That's amazing, and I think this is definitely the value that we are looking for. So one part is the saving hours, but the other part is the business impact, right? And the business impact can be translated into revenue, but also can be translated into customer growth and customer experience. And I think this is something we're going to be discussing today. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the agenda. So the first thing, we're going to go through very, very quick introduction. Then we're going to go through the introduction to building a chatbot using AI. And then we're going to go into Make. We're going to show you, TB going to show you how exactly he built the chatbot. This is a very practical webinar. We're going to go into the details how we built that. All right. So very quick introduction about Make. I hope a lot of you who are here, you are already familiar with Make. Make is an is an automation platform that also enables you to use AI, enables you to connect apps together. There are thousands and thousands of people who have been using Make for years. If you're not using Make yet, I hope this webinar today will show you the value of using Make. Tibi, can you give us a very quick introduction about Make It Future?
Sure. Make It Future, and I think you already kind of covered this. If you want, maybe to, in a nutshell, do you want to cover this first, Leo?
I think we already covered it. Yeah, let's move on.
So yeah, my testimonial to Make, okay, is the platform I use the most as a no-code platform. So guys, whoever's on this call, take 15 minutes, go test Make. I can tell you it's going to change the way you think about automation and business. So who's Make It Future? We've started with Make back in 2018, actually, before we started Make It Future. We spend a lot of time automating, and right now we are an automation agency with 26 people, and we're providing automation services on no code and other like no code platforms like Make and others like Airtable and HubSpot. And we're doing this from our development center in Romania, but we also have a presence in Germany, France, and we're actually working on all over the globe. We have customers in Israel, we have customers in North America, we have in Canada, we have in Australia, and so on. So all over the globe. Yeah, you can see here some reference from us. Not so important. Go to our website and you can find all this information.
Awesome, brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Tibi, now let's go into the exciting part. So Make It Future is an automation agency, right? But how did it start at the beginning? Because I know you had quite a very different start in business.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nice part of nowadays of working with no code tools. You don't really have to be like a coder. You can start doing digitalization and you can do process automation with tools like Make. Back in 2018, I was running we started a company together with my co-founder Peter. We started a company called Blu Coffee Roastery. Our main goal was to ship roast coffee and ship it to our customers around Romania and Europe. And we had a e-commerce based on PrestaShop, and one of our big challenges was, how do we do retargeting? How do we understand how which customer do we need to call for support? Which customer have problems? How do we aggregate all the data? And we discovered HubSpot at that time, and we wanted to apply the CRM and the marketing plans on our e-commerce, but our PrestaShop had no connection to HubSpot. And by searching and searching to find a solution to integrate, we discovered Integromat. And to keep the story short, 6 months later, all our processes in the business were automated, okay? And we realized in about 6 months that there's a much bigger opportunity in doing business automation, and we decided to start doing an agency in help out other businesses to automate their business. And to be honest, I think it was a great journey for us, but Blu Coffee is still there, okay? It's still live. You can find it on blu.coffee. You can order coffee all over Europe, and please do so.
Awesome. So, and now let's dive into the use case that we have today, which is still related to Blu Coffee, right? So you actually built a chatbot for this e-commerce website. Why did you have to do that, and what does this chatbot do?
So you were mentioning earlier during the KPIs, right? Because okay, savings in money and savings in time are important, right? But sometimes the customer experience is even more important. We had customers that were reaching out asking, do you know where's my order? Do you know what is the status of my order, and stuff like that? And because it was manually, we were replying from time to time. It was on a WhatsApp. Sometimes Petru was waiting for me to reply. Sometimes I was waiting on him to reply. And when the AI trend started about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were looking at how can we improve that experience? Can we build something with Make and AI, which is connected directly to our systems and can respond directly from those systems with live information? And that's why we believe offering like 24/7 support, having a chatbot that's already all the time there, it's able to be connected to our system and offers recommendations about the products. That was kind of what drove us into building this product.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think
this solution.
What you just mentioned right now is the ability of that chatbot to check specific information about the order and answer the user with this specific information. So maybe we can move on to the next step, which actually, what do you need, or what is the process of building an AI chatbot?
Yeah. So building chatbots is not something new, right? Because there were chatbots before, and also kind of powered by AI. And you can find a lot of platforms out there which can help you build like your chatbot with AI, but most of them rely only on the LLM training, and at the same time it relies maybe you upload some documents about the business, but that will not provide live data from your business, right? So when OpenAI released the function capability about a year ago, being able to allow the agent to think about, okay, I need to grab some order information. So then I have a function that can provide that information to me, right? And that's when we started looking at doing this with Make. So how does it work? We have a user is messaging the AI agent. The AI agent will get the message. The AI will go into a decision making. What does mean? It will try to understand the question, and if he already knows the answer, it will just reply back to the user. If it needs more information which is related to business knowledge, like if you have maybe a vector database, it will go towards that database, search for that information, and then go back and reply to the user. And additionally, we have what we call functions, and those functions are actions that are defined for the AI to take in order to get additional information or in order to perform an action towards your system. And with the answer from those functions, he can then reply back to the user.
That's brilliant. And like, I think another important element here is like two parts. What you have here, the what people are calling as RAG. Some people know this acronym, some people don't. So
yeah.
The RAG is a very piece of important piece of information here. And the other part is the ability to connect this bot with different application, whether there's going to be WhatsApp, whether it's going to be Slack or email as well.
For sure. So we have, I think, when we look from enhancing an AI chatbot, we have these functions which I call live connections. I like to call them because in reality, the AI agent has a direct connection towards those platforms. It could be towards a CRM, it could be towards an ERP, it could be towards e-commerce, you name it. We have what, about 1,800 applications in Make? Any of those, right? Then we have this retrieval-augmented generation, which we call it RAG, which is additional information, generally organization-specific knowledge that's added to a vector database where you can query it with filters, with metadata, information that you can grab from this database, feed it towards the AI, and then get a better answer from the AI, or hopefully even a perfect answer from the AI. And then the nice part, again, because we're using Make, we can connect this AI agent to any platform, right? If that chat system has an API behind it, WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, Teams, HubSpot, any chat system with an API, a webhook system, it goes, every new message goes directly to Make. You run the AI engine, and then you get back an answer, right? Then you respond to that message from the AI.
Brilliant. So that's I think we already covered the live connections. We already covered the RAG side. Is there anything else you need to add on that side?
So maybe just to mention here on live connections, right? You think about connecting to any system, like I said, you have the API functions that are powering this, and any application that exists in Make, for that matter, any application with an API, because Make has a great SDK. It takes a couple of hours, days to create, depending on the complexity, a new application, and I encourage all of you to do that. And you can connect to any API application, right? And you can easily swap application and test the way you need, right? And you get your data into the system. And very important, don't think about just getting information inside the AI. The AI could also do actions, right? Which is, again, something very specific to these functions that are powered by Make, by allowing you to create things, right? Think about, like, you want an assistant to create a deal in your CRM, or create a new order for your e-commerce, or create a new task in your ClickUp, or whichever, right? Power actions by AI.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, if you speak a little bit about the RAG as well.
Yeah, RAG, to go a bit in details, it's a bit more complicated. I really advise people who want to learn more, go to YouTube, search for RAG, and you get a lot more information. But practically, by using Make, you can automatically embed data to vector databases like Pinecone. It's very easy to have like a watcher in Google Drive, or a watcher in your SharePoint, any of your organization where your organization data exists. And with that, you bring the with a watcher or with a webhook, and I'll explain a bit later what the webhook is, by the way, because probably some of you on the call don't know. You instantly get the information from those platforms, and you transfer it to a vector database, and then the AI will have access to it. Also important, with tools like Zero Code Kit, Cloud Convert, you can also transform the data when necessary. So you might need to, like, OCR an invoice, or you want to convert a picture to a format that's understandable by the AI, right? You can use these tools to convert that information, and you can send the data to any vectorized database with an API, right? Which makes it very, very powerful and dynamically changeable. So
I think maybe one easier way to explain RAG is that AI models usually already trained in a specific source of data, and what you do with the RAG, you are adding more learning to the AI model based on your own data, right? So like this is maybe the most simplified version of that.
We need to be careful here. A lot of time, like fine-tuning, learning, teaching the AI, it's a bit of a different process where you need to have like a very good data, which you then train the model on top. So you do a fine-tuning on a model. While RAG, what RAG does, the AI decides it needs to query on certain topics the vector database. It will get the answer from the database, and then it will feed back to the AI your question and the context of the search, right? So then the AI will understand, hey, here's the question, here's the reg information from the business. Try to reply to that question with this additional knowledge that you just got. And then you get a much proper answer than without providing it. A lot of time the AI initial training has no way to know internal business information, your, I don't know, FAQ, frequently asked questions, or contract information, or offer information. Think about very specific organization knowledge.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much. All right, so now let's go a little bit more practical on the actual agent that you built. So how does this looks like within your process?
Yeah, so think about the same process I described before, right? We have a user that's messaging the Blu Coffee website. So the way we do that, we have a chat which is embedded by like a JavaScript code to our website. Whenever a person, a customer loads the website, they have the chat widget, they click on it, and they start a conversation. This chatbot is powered by Voiceflow. Voiceflow, it's a service that provides these kind of widgets for chat, and it provides a way to create a logic into that for the voice chat, like different buttons for starting the conversation, and then being able to access additional data, right? Then we have the AI agent, which is inside Make, the Make AI agent, which is powered by OpenAI. This is triggered by a webhook. So a webhook is think about it like a link, right? Somebody sends a message, and then that data goes towards that link, which is it's a post of data towards that link, towards that endpoint, and then inside Make, you just get the data instantly, right? So in milliseconds. And then with that, you can connect the data that you received on this webhook to the next steps that you need to take in the flow. And we'll show that a bit live on our demo. Then the AI takes a decision. If it needs to go to one of the functions, you can see here some examples of our function is like, whenever somebody starts asking about an order, we want them to make sure it's the right person and they have the right access. So the bot, it's instructioned to ask first for the email. It will send the code and then verify the code. So then we have a function that generates and emails the code, and then we have another functions to verify the code. Very important here, like a note, if somebody plans to do that, because the idea of this webinar is for any of you to try it yourself, right? And by the way, if you want to get our blueprints to play with it, let us know and we'll send out the blueprints. Very important, when you generate the code, don't tell the AI the code, because somebody might be smart enough to keep asking questions until they get the code. We just tell the AI we send the code, the user will get the code, and the verify code function goes to a data store in Make, verifies if the code is the same, and then confirms to AI, yes, the code is correct, you can pass, and you can give it more order information to the customer, or create an order for that matter. And then we have additional functions for verify order status, verify shipping status, create order, and so on. So based on the scenarios that are powering those functions, the AI will get that instant knowledge about a user order and then reply back to the user. Very important here, the AI does not have access to all our system directly. It cannot really see all the orders in our system, all the data in our CRM. It just gets exactly the order that the customer is asking for, right? And it lives only on this conversation. And also maybe important for some of you on the call, on the OpenAI API, there's no training by OpenAI, right? So all this data, it has its privacy correlated with it, right? So we're not sharing this data with OpenAI in any way, except with the model, and their privacy is very strong on this.
Brilliant. That's awesome. So, and I think that the next step, yeah, like, I mean, what you were just showing right now, just before jumping into the demo, I just want to show the people how does it look like, how does these steps look like?
Yeah, so somebody messaged the assistant. We have a step inside Voiceflow where you have the setup of the assistant. You can see here, whenever somebody clicks on help me with my order, there's going to be a capture of the reply from the user, and then we send that request towards this link, which is the webhook. which will send back the response from the AI, and then it will reply to the user. And then there is a loop between a conversation loop between the AI agent and the user or the customer on our website, right? And think about if you would, instead of doing this inside Voiceflow here, if you would do that in a scenario that's starting with a WhatsApp or with a Telegram module, this will be at the same time using the same agent on inside WhatsApp and helping your customer directly in WhatsApp. The next step will be the scenario itself that gets the data with OpenAI module that's doing the computation and going over API towards OpenAI. And we're getting an answer, we're structuring the answer and sending it back to the webhook. And then we have the additional scenarios, which are function scenarios. You see, very easy. Generate a code, put that in the database, reply it back. Go to same day here on the right top side, it's our shipping provider. We get the order, it goes to same day by API, checks if it's already shipped, checks if it's waiting somewhere, has the exact status of that shipping right now. Then if we generate a code, you see there is an email there, creating an order, you see there the Shopify, like going back to Shopify to create the line items and then create the order for the customer.
Awesome. So I think we're gonna move right now into Make to actually see how to build that yourself, but also like looking at the comments on the chat. For everyone, we're gonna be sending you the blueprint by email. So after the webinar, you will all get the blueprint. Everyone who registered to the webinar will get the blueprint for these scenarios. And if you have questions, please add them in the Q&A tab, not in the chat, just add them in the Q&A tab. And at the end of the webinar, we'll be answering these questions.
Okay, so
let's go to Make. Let's show this.
Before going to Make, which is very important, let me just show you what are the different steps in order to achieve something like this. Okay, so first of all, you need to go to OpenAI website, you sign up for, not for ChatGPT, by the way, you sign up for the API, okay, very careful there. And you go to their assistant tabs and you create an assistant, right? So this is where you create a new assistant. In my case, I have here the Blu Coffee bot. And then you need to define, okay, you define the module that's using here. I'm even using, see here, an older version. I could switch it to the latest one, which is 4.0, but I'm not going to do this now. Maybe we're going to have an issue with it. So then we have the instruction. So I recommend you write as good as possible instruction to make it very clear what this AI is supposed to do, right? What different functionality it has. And then on the bottom side, you have the functions, which, as you can see, get shipping history, get order, create authorization code, validate user code, send the generated code, get order information, and so on, right? So these are the functions that, let's see, like this one, get order information, right? These are the functions that are powering this assistant. It might look a bit codish and a bit complicated. It's not so complicated. If just read it, right? Name, description, strict. Is it strict or not, right? You just say yes or no. And then what are the different parameters that you expect to have, that you have on this? Give me just a.
And actually, I think one very good thing about the functions, I think TB was saying that you can actually use ChatGPT to help you write the function. So like if it's a little bit like complicated for you, how can you write such a function? You can actually use Chat GPT for that. Let's give TB a second just to go to a quieter place. And again, so for everyone, if you have questions, please add them to the Q&A, and we're gonna answer them at the end.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
We can. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. So just to make it very easy for everybody, you get this code very nicely. You copy it from here, or for that matter, you can use one of the examples, like get the weather one. It's very easy. You copy it. You want to do something, think about what are the parameters that you want your function to do. Like if you want to like send an email, you need to understand what is the email and what information do you want to send, as an example, right? So then if you go to a ChatGPT, as easy as creating, go to ChatGPT, say, help me create a function to send an email to customers based on this example. And if you specify, hey, this is for OpenAI API, and you say which parameters and so on, it will know a little better to do. And there is a custom GPT to do that, right? But I just want to show you, hey, it's not very hard to really do that. Just use ChatGPT. It will ask you to do that function, and it will write the code for you. Okay, try that. I can. Okay, now it's kind of, because I didn't say probably it's for OpenAI, it will not do it properly. Use the custom GPT for that. Okay. Then we have the voice flow setup where we have some starting points. Let me close this a bit. So here we have the voice flow setup where I have a Blu Coffee bot. This has the starting conditions, right? And it tells, okay, which are the options for the user to take. You just personalize that. And then you have one webhook where you send the data. And this is where we also do the thread ID. So we capture here the thread ID. So every time you send a new message, it will go to the exact same thread, and the AI will continue the same conversation. And then there we go. We go to Make, right? So what does it happen in Make? So in Make, we have what we call a webhook. So this is an instant trigger. So whenever you send data to this link that we're creating now, so I'm going to create a new one, just say like AI bot, for example, and then I get a link. So all the data that will be sent to this link, it will show up in this scenario, all right? So once we get the data from that link, we go to OpenAI. Message an assistant, and here, okay, we create a connection. We need to select the assistant that was just built. As you can see, I have some here. And then very importantly, all the functions that were defined inside the assistant, you will see it here, right? So I have the different functions, and then the Make module is expecting us to provide a URL, right? So what that URL is, if we build a function, for example, I have here create authorization code, we have a function, we start again with a webhook, we have a simple generate code where we do like a generate random code, we put that in a database and respond back, right? So then all I need to do is copy this address, the link from here, go back to the scenario and put it here, right? So with that, and then I complete all the setup of my module. I'll jump into my initial scenario, not to spend like 10 minutes configuring this, but you can see here all the setup of the bot, which is all the different functions. You define the message connected to the webhook. You define your somewhere here, the assistant, and that's it. We get the message and we reply back. Awesome. Right. So then if I go back to Voiceflow for a second, if I didn't lose that, okay. So let's run it once, right? So I could run this directly on the website, or you can run it directly here in Webflow, in Voiceflow. So once somebody is pushing this, I need help with my order, I would say, hi, can you give me the status of my order?
Demos always break, so I'm curious if it's actually gonna work. Never works in live demo.
You know how that is. The demo gods sometimes with us, the demo gods sometimes without us. So we'll get, you see, it was already triggered, right? To help you with your order status, I will need the order reference, or I can provide something to authenticate myself, right? So let me just go quickly, right, into the chatbot, right? Here, I'm going to discard. You see, there was a few seconds ago, we had this running and this generated the answer, right? So you get that code generated here. Now, if I put, hey, this is my email for authentication, it will send me an email for that. So it will start using the get function and the other functions to really power that. Okay. So just to wrap up on how this is done, we have the voice flow. Again, that's messaging the scenario. Voice flow will send the data to Make. Make will get it over a webhook, use the OpenAI module to computate the answer, right? The AI will decide if it knows the answer. For example, at the beginning, based on instruction, it will just tell you, hi, I'm here to support you with your order. I need your order number, right? Or if it needs to do something, it will go do that action on those functions.
Brilliant. And I think, like, I mean, in that example you were showing using OpenAI, but like obviously you can use other AI apps, and Make has multiple AI apps that you can use if you prefer others than OpenAI. And then the last step that you mentioned, which is the functions, right? So this is where you can identify what different actions you might be performing. So you might be implementing that in another website, which is not an e-commerce, right? So there is no orders, but you want to add a new contact in your CRM, for example. So this is up to you to configure what kind of action you want this bot to perform.
Sure. I mean, there are different ways to implement this depending on the AI that you're running with. Or using, because OpenAI has this API that's managing the thread for you. If you're using another API that does not have an AI that does not have a thread handling, then you need to manage that yourself. So you need to create a database with the messages, feedback those messages toward the assistant, right? So there are different ways to implement this. But yes, hypothetically, you could do this, achieve it with any AI that has an API.
Awesome, great. And TB, you said like this agent is live right now, right? It's still bringing you results, bringing you revenue, hopefully, right?
Yes, it should be. And that's why I tested inside Voiceflow, because if you go to our website, my team just transitioned last week from PrestaShop to Shopify. And when I went there today before the testing to see, okay, I'm going to do this demo on, I saw it was not there. So I need to embed the code off, and that's going to take a few hours, but we'll actually a few minutes, not hours. We'll put it there, and you're going to test it live if you want to.
Awesome, brilliant. No, thank you very much. Again, so like number one, we're gonna be sending you the blueprints of these scenarios that TP was showing, and you're also gonna have the recording. We're gonna send that to you. It's gonna be available on the website. And number three, if you are not a Make user yet, you can be using the link that we'll be sharing. So you can use Make 2 months for free with 100,000 or 20,000 operations, I think, right?
Yeah, and use those operations on AI, testing on AI.
Awesome. So now we're gonna move to questions, right? If you have any questions, please add them to the Q&A tab, not to the chat. Add them to the Q&A tab. We're gonna go through them and answer as much as the time allows, right? So the first question I have from Thomas: how do you gatekeep from customers or non-customers who are looking to abuse the AI chatbot? I think you mentioned that a little bit during your presentation. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit?
I mean, if somebody just speaks too much with the AI, it will have some impact on us on cost because it's using operations and AI tokens, but that's it, right? We are limiting it by instructions, not to like provide generic information. So somebody would just use it like instead of going to the ChatGPT website. And then from a business perspective, before doing any action like creating an order or getting information about an order, we always do authentication. Depending on the platform, could be easier or more complex. Like for email, you generate the code and send it over. If you use WhatsApp, you know directly, based on the WhatsApp API, you know exactly the phone number you're talking with. If that customer already has an account, you can easily identify it. if they don't have an account, you will ask them, how do you want to create an account? Right? So you can, by identifying the person, you can then mitigate that.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Then the next question, like someone just confirming about RAG. So by using RAG, you are retrieving your vector base with docs related to products, recepts, and docs in general. Is that correct?
You're retrieving with the data that lives in your RAG vector database. It's correct. I mean, it could be whichever documents, could be for, I give you a nice example. We are using internally at Make It Future, we are using a platform called Fireflies AI, which gives you like meeting notes and actions after every meeting. And we have a scenario after each meeting, we take that export conversation and all the information that happened on a call with our customers. Of course, by consent with our customers, we are recording that and we're putting that into a vector database, right? So then we have an internal chatbot. If I'm searching for a question regarding something we did internally on a meeting, we find that very easily.
Great.
So it could be whichever data you imagine you want your AI to have access to.
Yeah. All right. So still, I think a lot of people are still interested in the RAG. So there are a couple of questions about Pinecone here. And I think you can share a little bit of your experience of using Pinecone.
Yeah. So Pinecone is one of the vector databases that is very easy to set up. It has a very, I would say, comfortable free plan. We are on the free plan, to be honest. You can create a pretty big vector database on the free plan, and then it has a great Make application. Works very easy with the OpenAI model and OpenAI embeddings. And in my personal testing and experience, it's much better than OpenAI own vector database, and that's because it allows you to put a lot of metadata on top of the vector database.
Understood.
Right, which provides you additional information about that search.
Great. Someone's asking to explain a little bit about the functions within OpenAI. I think we don't have the time for that, but what would you recommend them to do? Like, where can they go to learn a little bit more about functions within OpenAI?
So OpenAI documentation on that, it's great. At the same time, there was when the OpenAI released the function about a year ago, they had a presentation of about 40 minutes really showcasing that. So I encourage you go search for the OpenAI video on the functions. And then there's a ton of YouTube videos actually. And I think even us on our YouTube channel or on LinkedIn, on my profile, you can find some videos related to how we build functions in Make.
Great, thank you. And someone was asking, actually, I saw this a couple of times about saving the answers from the bot. So when the bot is answering a question, do you save this answers, number one, for yourself, and number two, do you use this answer for future answers as well, or it is like expired answer once it's sent?
At this point, we are not doing that. It could be valuable if you want to do fine tuning, right? So you have a conversation, you have a back and forth question and answer. So then if somebody would want to do more fine tuning on how you would expect the AI to answer, by having those pairing question and answers and then going over it step by step, cleaning it, making sure that you always like the answer, and put maybe positive, negative answers, and then you could do fine tuning with it. But that's a bit, I would say that would be a lot more advanced, a lot more time consuming. In our use case, we're not saving it. It just stays on the API of OpenAI. I think their retention policy, it's probably, it's like 60 or 90 days. And after that, it's gone.
Understood. Then I see like a question, but also by multiple people in different words, which is, how does the AI understand which function it should trigger?
The AI understands which function to trigger based on the description of the function, right? So if I have a function that's saying it's described as this function will give you information about an order based on the order ID, right? And then the parameter of that function will be, let's say, order ID, and maybe I have the authorization code because I use that as a secondary authentication into that process, right? So then you mark those parameters as required, and the AI knows whenever somebody's asking for order information, he knows he has in his pocket this function. He knows he needs the order ID and the code, and then it will ask you directly the user, can you provide order ID? Yes, okay. For the code, it has another function that's to say, hey, if you want a code, you need to generate the code, send it to the user, and you get it from the user. So then it will push to the other function to generate the code and ask the AI for the customer for the code, right? So it's just you as the developer, you're describing this in real words to the AI when it needs to use that function, and the AI will trigger the function based on that explanation.
Understood. Great. Another question someone is asking about like the average cost of this. And of course, the answer is always it depends, but maybe we can just explain where you gonna need to pay. Like you're gonna need to pay this service, that service, like maybe just to explain where the cost will be coming from.
I mean, when I really started doing this, I was thinking that I will use like this is going to use like tons of operations. In reality, a user spends maybe 5-10 messages on the chat, because it's not like chatting with the AI a lot. It's just asking for some business for some information about the order, and it's gone, right? So then it's think about maybe 4 operations per run, per message, and then you have maybe 20-30 operations for the conversation, and then you have the tokens on the OpenAI side, which is again few cents, I would say. I'm not depending on how long that answer is. It might be, I don't know, below 1 cent, or could be maybe after the end of the conversation 3-4 cents. But it's in our experience, for about few hundred orders that we have on the shop, it's fully justifiable.
Understood. Great. And someone is asking, of course, about privacy. So are you actually sharing any sensitive info about the customers? Is this something that can cause concern, and how are you addressing that?
So, and that's the beauty of using Make into this, okay? When you do the function that getting the information from the order, you decide as the developer, how much information do I send from Shopify to the AI? I can send everything, or I can send only the status and the price, the total price, and that's it. If I don't want to send the customer name, the shipping information, the billing information, I'm not sending it, right? So I'm just sending what I need to send, or what I consider for the AI to be critical to be able to answer the question.
Understood. And I see Annette just asking like, yeah, can you please write down the system that we are using? It's a little bit difficult for her to understand. She's Swedish. None of us is native speaker anyway. But anyway, this is recorded. You're gonna get the recording. You're gonna see all the system, all the systems there. I think like these questions appeared before, and maybe we can close with this one, because I know it's quite important, and I'll add it in 2 folds. So number 1, again, how can we avoid people trying to trick the AI into getting sensitive information? And number 2, how do we avoid AI hallucination, which is an always concern for anyone using AI?
So for your first question, again, you're just giving the AI the information that you consider important for the AI to give an answer. That's the first thing. So limit the information for just what's needed. And most of the time, telling a customer, hey, your order is on the way, not business critical, right? Or not an information that is critical, or the order is waiting, it's inside the distribution center in whichever city. Again, not critical information. Then the OpenAI, and I recommend you go and check that, any of you, go to their privacy setting on the API, and you can see they are not doing any training on that data, which is very important for us to make sure that OpenAI and next OpenAI models will not be smarter or having information about the customer order or something, right? We need to make sure that's not happening. So that's how we limit it. And then to answer your second question about hallucination, by providing this direct information on its answer from functions, the AI will have the exact information it needs to answer, right? By providing information from RAG, okay, of course, you need to make sure that your RAG is set up correctly. You're doing you have a good strategy on RAG, because there's a lot of way to do RAG. But by providing that context information, the better you can provide it, the better the answer will be. And I can give you a KPI on that. I'm working on another AI, and we've done some testing before implementing a RAG strategy directly with the OpenAI vector database. Our accuracy for answer was around 40%. So something like 38, 39% was good answers. About 30% were very bad answers, hallucinations, and about 30% was like incomplete answers. Once we move that data towards a RAG system with a good implementation, right now we are about 92% accuracy.
Wow.
Right, which is a crazy big difference. And within a week, we tested 6 different RAG strategies with Make, just because we're able to go change the way we filter to Pinecone, create a secondary scenario, and actually we have 6 different strategies. And we go to a database, check the answer, check the RAG, and we decide, okay, this is the best. This is the one that's working the best, right? Again, because we're using no-code technology, it's so fast to test and deploy.
Great. Awesome. Thank you very much, Tibi. That was very, very insightful, very educational. I learned a lot today. For everyone, we will share the blueprints with you. We will share the recording of the webinar with you. Please do follow Make. We have more webinars coming. Please follow Tibi and reach out to him. I know there are more questions that we did not have the time to answer. So please reach out to Tibi if you have any questions. He will be more than happy to help you as well. Tibi, thank you very much. That was awesome.